Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So, we got Star Wars: The Bad Batch episode 15 just on Friday, and it is a great episode. Honestly, very good episode. And like I said, spoiler alert after now. So 3, 2, 1, spoilers now. It leaves you off with a cliffhanger. So like I said, now there's spoilers past this moment. So hopefully if you guys are here now, you've probably already seen the episode, or you really don't care about spoilers. So I'm going to be going into all the Easter eggs in this episode because there are a lot of Easter eggs in this episode. My last video was 21 minutes, so I don't want to make this video too long because it's a bit hard when I have to edit the entire thing in. But we're going to see how this goes. So first of all, just a side note, the next episode of The Bad Batch is coming out on Friday the 13th. So, Friday the 13th, hopefully no bad luck for the Bad Batch finale. We're hoping it's going to be a great finale. We're hoping it's not going to be kind of like the WandaVision finale, because if you've seen WandaVision, the finale was not the greatest, but hopefully we're going to get a great finale with a plot twist, Omega Force sensitive, or maybe we're going to get Star Killer. If you haven't seen it, go check out my Crazy Omega Theories video, because I go over some crazy Omega theories, and they're pretty bad theories, actually. I literally just came up with them while making that video. So let's get into it right now. So the episode is titled Return to Kamino, obviously because the Bad Batch are returning to Kamino. It's pretty simple. You don't have to be like Albert Einstein to figure it out. So the episode opens up when you see Hunter with Crosshair on a Rogue-class attack shuttle. Now a Rogue-class attack shuttle, it's spelled RHO, is kind of like the new class attack shuttle, but it's got like this big carrier underneath, kind of like a prison cell carrier. So then they're talking about how Crosshair's master plan is that he's going to turn on Hunter's comlink, and then he knows that the Bad Batch is going to know that it's a trap, but they're obviously not going to leave one of them behind. Obviously, because like I mentioned in my last video, it's kind of like Omega is like the decider of what they're going to do. Hunter's just like, Omega, you want to jump off a cliff? And Omega's just like, oh, sure, why not? And Hunter's like, oh, yeah, why not? So Omega is obviously, he knows that Omega is going to want to come and rescue Hunter, and then the Bad Batch are going to agree with Omega, because like I just said, it's kind of like Omega decides what they do. So he turns on the comlink, and then now he just has to wait until they decide to come. So then it cuts back to the Bad Batch on Ord Mantell, which I kind of thought we were done with Ord Mantell, but I mean, we're still in Ord Mantell. I also forgot to mention that actually in last episode, here are a couple things that I forgot to mention. In last episode, they also mentioned that they were on one of Sid's job during the last episode. I also forgot to mention that you see Scorch in the last episode of the Bad Batch. Now, Scorch, I'm just going to say this quickly. Scorch is one of the members of Delta Squad, which I actually didn't know, but Delta Squad appears in the Clone Wars. So Delta Squad are the Republic Commandos from the Republic Commando video game, but you can go check out one of Bombastic's video if you want a full details about that. So, they mentioned that, so now they're preparing to go to Darrow, and they have to fix their ship because it was damaged during last episode in the fight with the V-Wings and all that. And they mentioned that Sid is hanging out with Gregor. So Sid's not too happy to hang out with Gregor. So, that's a bit of funny there. So they received the transmission. And on their comlink, you see a bit of Aurebesh on their comlink. And the Aurebesh says, Hunter, and right next to it, it says device connected. Thanks, Bombastic, for making your video, because I wasn't able to figure out what device said. I was able to translate Hunter and connected, but it was at an angle, so I couldn't figure out what the word said. But it turns out the answer was device, so if Bombastic didn't make that video, then I wouldn't be able to figure out what that word said. So thanks, Bombastic. So then it cuts back to Kamino, where you can then hear the soundtrack from Attack of the Clones here. Like, you can hear the one from Attack of the Clones right here. And the one from the Bad Batch right here. So then one of the troopers, one of Crosshair's Super Commando Squad troopers or whatever, are concerned that Crosshair his full loyalties are not with the Empire, because later you learn a stunning secret. I'm not going to tell it yet, even though you've probably already seen the episode. I want to save that for the end because it's plot twist. So they do mention that now you can see the TK troopers in the background during the scene, and you can also see the Venators without the paint job. So it seems that, kind of like in Revenge of the Sith, how at the end you can see the Venators without the paint job. So it seems that they've really got to jump. But here's something that I want to mention. In Revenge of the Sith, at the end how you can see Tarkin, Vader, and the Emperor, and how you can see them you could see the Death Star being built in the background. I actually think that scene happened before. I am pretty sure that this happened. That happened directly after Revenge of the Sith, because in the background you could still see clone troopers. You couldn't see stormtroopers, so I'm guessing that scene happened before the Bad Batch. But I mean, I don't really know. I don't know how fast. I don't know the full history of the Death Star. I actually don't know how fast Tarkin started making the Death Star, but we know that Palpatine already had it commissioned before the Empire was even created. So then, then obviously Omega, the Omega and the Bad Batch, they decide to, they're missing Hunter, so they decide to head to Kamino, and they don't get detected yet. And Omega knows a secret platform. So it's literally in the middle of the ocean, and then Tech is just like, oh wait, there's no platform, and Omega's like, you need to get lower. And Tech's like, oh, if I'm any lower, I'm gonna be in the water. So there's a bit of funny dialogue there. And then when they finally got lower enough, you get to see that the platform raises up, and it's a secret platform, which, as far as we know, we've never seen that platform before. And Tech even mentions that he didn't even know about it. No, they're pretty far from the actual Topeka city. And then then when they get out of the ship, they open up a hatch that leads to a turbo lift, it's a horizontal turbo lift. So it goes horizontally, and they get to Nala Se's secret lab, which is where they were all created, which is where the Bad Batch got their mutated enhancements. So Omega was created there, and the rest of the Bad Batch were created there. I'm assuming that maybe they had, I don't know if, 99, if you remember, Clone 99 probably wasn't created there, because he was not planned to be mutated. He was kind of an accident. So then in the lab, you get to see EZ-13. I believe that's how it is, or maybe it's EZ-03, or I don't remember his full number. His number is like EZ-13, A-16, whatever. It's a very long series of numbers, so I don't remember exactly what it is. So if you don't know EZ-13 or whatever, he appeared in the Clone Wars episode, in the Clone Wars arc of Orders, and that's basically the one where they learned about the inhibitor chips. But then he got his mind wiped, and he became friends with Omega, which you can see in the first and second episode. Maybe it was third, whatever. You can see EZ in the beginning of the Bad Batch, and now he returns for this episode. So, Omega does a bit of a mention about how they were created there and whatever, and then they mention that when they go look at the files for the lab, all the files are gone for some reason. So why have the files been wiped? Are the Kaminoans hiding something? Is it Starkiller? I'm really hoping for Starkiller, because honestly, that would be a great plot twist, and I'm sure a lot of you guys really want a kind of Force Unleashed game. That would be great, but I kind of doubt that it's Starkiller. I bet you it's probably something like they probably just didn't want the Empire to know about the files or something, or I really have no idea why. It doesn't really make sense, but I guess we'll figure out. So then they make their way across one of the landing platforms, and then there's a bit of talking between Hunter and Crosshair. And when they're running across the landing platform, you can hear the alarm from the Death Star, the one that goes Well, you can hear the alarm from the Death Star, and then when they walk into the hallway, you can hear one of the alarms that you can hear on the Resurgent class Star Destroyer. So that's the first Star Destroyer in LEGO Star Wars: The Force Awakens. So I'm sure not a lot of people notice that. So there's some talking with Hunter and Crosshair, and Crosshair saying, Hunter's saying that, well, the Bad Batch are not going to come, and he's like, oh yes, they will come. It just needs more time. And then one of the troopers is just like, oh, should we go and we scan their ship? Should we go and send a battalion to go get them? And he's like, oh, no need. They're just going to come to us. So it seems like Crosshair is kind of like an evil Moff Gideon kind of guy. He's planning his stuff strategically, but in the end, he's got a very master plan. I want to say it's not really that much of a master plan. So then they enter they find Hunter's location, and it's in the training room. So they decide to sneak under the room with the training room. So it's basically kind of like, at the beginning when Domino Squad in the Clone Wars, well, they were in a room, then it raised them up, and then they did the battle. So they go there, and then you can see on the wall, you can see the little picture of the Dark Troopers. Well, I actually don't know what they are called, but they have a very good resemblance to Dark Troopers. They could be Phase 1 Dark Troopers. I don't know the full history of Dark Troopers, because what game were they even in? I don't even remember what game they were in. So they then tell Omega to stay in the room and wait for text signal. And if they hear text signal, they go to the ship and then they leave. So Omega's obviously hoping that she's not going to receive that signal. So then when they bring themselves up on the turbo lift, you then get to see the big battle. Crosshair, the villain, versus the Bad Batch, who is good. Now, Crosshair's, we don't really know what he's actually planned, because he really just wants the Bad Batch to come to the Empire. So then, surprisingly, he shoots all his troopers, because he really didn't care for those troopers at all. Like we saw in episode 3, he was willing to just shoot that trooper, because he was just willing to complete the mission at all costs. So that's obviously his inhibitor chip doing it. Or is it his inhibitor chip? I'll talk more about that later. So then Omega has a plan to raise the Dark Troopers from above, and then to fight Crosshair and try to distract them so that the Bad Batch can escape. Now, while she's under there is one trooper that tries to go get her, but then she just opens one of the things and it just knocks the trooper down. So then when all the troopers go up, there's then a battle, kind of like in the first episode, we even get a battle, and they've beaten those troopers once before, but Omega says that she raised way too many troopers, so then she starts taking out her crossbow and she starts taking out some of them for him, but no Tarkin to watch them. I wish Tarkin could see that battle. Now that is quite an impressive display, as he said.
That was quite an impressive display.
So Crosshair really wants them to come to the Empire, and then he reveals the stunning twist that I was talking about from the beginning of this episode. Crosshair doesn't have an inhibitor chip. Yep, you heard that right. He hasn't had the inhibitor chip for a long time, he says. Now, I don't actually know when he got the inhibitor chip removed. It probably was maybe when they were operating on him. Maybe they actually took out the inhibitor chip instead of enhancing the inhibitor chip. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense, but it turns out this entire time he has not had an inhibitor chip on, and he's been doing this out of his own free will. Now, he could be lying because it doesn't really make a lot of sense, but I'm assuming that he's telling the truth. So they then stun him, and then you get the stunning cliffhanger for this episode. It goes up, and you see Rampart on the Venator-class Star Destroyer, and he tells them that all essential personnel are evacuated. You also see a trooper that tells Rampart that Crosshair's gone a bit crazy, and that he's not with the Empire. So then you can actually see when he jumps into the new class attack shuttle, there's one clone on the new class attack shuttle. So I guess they haven't completely taken out all clones, but there was one clone on there. So then, like I said, Rampart says that all essential personnel are evacuated, and then he contacts Tarkin, and Tarkin gives the line from New Hope, and I believe it was in Rogue One. He says, "You may fire when ready."
You may fire when ready.
You may fire when ready.
So then we know what that means. No Death Star, but then the Venators start open firing on Kamino, and then you get a quick montage with very sad music of the empty rooms of Kamino, and then they start shooting on Kamino with the Bad Batch inside. So while Kamino is slowly sinking and the Bad Batch are still inside, they have no time to get their ship, and then that leaves us off with a cliffhanger. Will the Bad Batch survive or not? Probably they will, because if you haven't seen my other video where the Bad Batch is actually getting renewed for season 2. Yay, yes, it's very exciting. So if you haven't seen that video, I go over some of the details that they've released yet. So go check out that video, link in the description. You can also click that card in the top right corner. So now we're left off with the cliffhanger. What will happen in the final episode? Will Starkiller appear out of nowhere, or will we just get the reveal that Omega is Force sensitive? Or maybe Omega's not Force sensitive. Maybe Hunter is Force sensitive. No, really, these are just really dumb theories. I hope that we get to see Cad Bane and Fennec in the last episode, and maybe Sid, because we kind of want the last episode to wrap things up. We want every character to be seen, maybe even Rex. So hopefully, maybe even Cal Kestis. We don't know. Cal Kestis will be like the Luke Skywalker. He'll just walk in and kill everybody. No. So that's all the Easter eggs that I found in this episode of The Bad Batch. It was a very good episode. So I'm sure you've already seen it. If you watching this video right now, I'm sure you've already seen it. So my next Bad Batch review is coming next week, and I'll also be doing a finale predictions video coming out probably in like 2 days. So hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe for more Bad Batch content, because we still have a couple more videos going until it ends, and bye.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
So be it, Jedi. Huh?